How you doing, Shawn Slocum, Devil's Digest? When you just look at the special teams as a whole, almost ending spring practice, how you feel about the units? What have you seen the most improvement?
Well, I think one of our objectives in the spring is to practice good on good with the best players playing against the best players. So I've been pleased with, number one, the effort. I think from a technique standpoint, we've improved, and understanding the game has improved, and I think it'll show up in the play level as we go through fall camp.
I know DJ Taylor, as a returner, had a rough 2021. What do you see from him right now in spring practice? You think he can go back to that 2020 form that he had?
Well, he's an explosive runner. I think his biggest challenge coming off of last season was improving his decision-making skills and picking your times when you take shots or take chances. And I think he's improved this spring. He's been way more consistent just in catching the football and making some decisions right back around the goal line, which is where he needs to improve.
And Coach, to piggyback off that, outside of DJ, who do you feel that's maybe kind of, blossomed and improved to maybe be that second returner?
Well, LV is one of them. He's a really good catcher of the ball, and I think he'll be one of the guys that will help us. He unfortunately hasn't been through many of the practices because of his health, and so he'll hopefully in training camp be able to be out there consistently. And then I've been impressed with Elijah Badger. He's a dynamic player with the ball in his hands, and so we look forward to him doing some of it as well.
Robbie?
Coach, you mentioned how important good-on-good work is in the spring, but as a unit, as a special teams unit, what is the most important thing you'd like to see improvement on in spring?
Well, we're losing our starting deep snapper and holder, and all of that's changing right now. So the continuity between those three guys on field goals is highly important because that's a direct scoring play. So that's number one. And then the coordination of our punt protection with the snaps, and again, all of that is a growth period right now during the spring, and it's improving, and I'm pleased with our work.
Chris?
Hey, Shawn, Chris Carbon, Son of a Source. Can you give us your thoughts on the kicking situation right now, and then with Jace Feely specifically, what's his adjustment phase been like, and how have you seen him kind of progress?
I'll start off with Jace. Jace has made major improvements from the fall until now. Last year he got here during the middle of spring training, kind of thrust into a new environment, a higher level of football, and things were tough for him. Went through the fall. But this spring I think he's made some real good improvement, and I see a lot more consistency with him. I think it'll show up as we go through training camp. Now, we've got a young man named Robert Liss that we're considering in that position, and then we signed Carter Brown, and who's a very productive kicker out of Texas, who's got a big skill set. In fact, he reminds me a lot of Zane Gonzalez in terms of his leg strength and his size. He's a 6'1" guy, about 190, 95 pounds. Good size. He's athletic. He's a soccer player. So he'll be joining the mix as well.
So that's going to be pretty open then, you think, in August?
It will be. Yeah, they'll get here in June, and then, of course, they'll work together. I can't go on the field to them until we start training camp, but I think our training camp will be competitive, and we'll let it unfold during that, and we'll create some competitive situations during practices to try to check out where they are from a mentality standpoint. Are they able to handle the pressures that go along with that position?
Coach, can you talk about the growth of Eddie Shaplitsky since last year? Obviously, he had a decent freshman campaign, and what you've seen from him.
Well, first thing, I think there's big growth in the way you pronounce his name. You're all starting to get that right. Eddie is a worker. He is cerebral about his position. He's a technician. He's really improved. He's improved in the weight room. He's improved with his strength development. I think I'm starting to see some 5.2 and 5.3 balls in practice, which is good. And sometimes one of his liabilities is trying to be too perfect. I think he's growing out of that. Just sometimes you got to just bang it. He was very consistent last year, particularly for a freshman punter. The game's not too big for him, so I see him being a very positive part of our whole situation going forward.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, you're welcome.